And tonight we're hearing from Senator Tommy Tuberville while making an appearance in Birmingham just one day after the record-breaking 43-day government shutdown ended. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Carla Wade.
I'm Guy Rawlings. Tuberville and his wife named guests of honor at the Grand Bohemian just a couple hours ago. They were taking part in a children's benefit for Heal United. The organization focused on increasing fitness levels in kids all across the state. They claim they've helped 75% of students enrolled in Heal significantly improve their heart health in just 6 months. Tuberville told us as a member of the Health Committee in the Senate, he's been working alongside Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on the Make America Healthy Again initiative. He says Heal United and their mission lines up with those plans.
This group here is really about teaching our kids how to eat and how to keep the physical fitness that they need to stay healthy.
Tuberville was set to have media availability at an event earlier today, but that was canceled. We were personally invited to interview him by event coordinators this evening.
Now, our Michael Higdon asked the senator about the issues facing Alabamians like health care and that spending bill the president signed last night. Michael, what did he have to say?
Well, in terms of health care, open enrollment for health insurance has already started, and Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies are set to expire at the end of this year, which, if something isn't done, will more than double insurance premiums for millions of Americans in red and blue states alike, with some seeing increases of thousands of dollars per month. It was something Democrats wanted addressed in that spending bill, but it was ultimately left out. As part of the deal, the Senate will vote on the enhanced subsidies next month. Notably, though, the agreement with Republicans does not guarantee that the beefed up assistance will be extended. About 500,000 Alabamians fall under health care covered by the ACA. Ultimately, Senator Tuberville says he wants the federal government out of health care and says they've been talking about a plan for about a year, saying it's a detailed situation. But as for right now, this is what he had to say.
Right now, we're weeks away from people losing their premiums. What's the plan?
Well, there's no choice. There's no choice simply for the fact that the way Obamacare was structured, it was supposed to be affordable. Now it's unaffordable. It was supposed to be where you could keep your doctor, but you really can't because your doctors have gone under and they've moved to other places. And so what we want to try to do is make sure that the federal government doesn't have to get involved with the healthcare system, that the people, the insurance companies, we can get back to the old way of selling insurance at a cheaper price, have more plans.
Which, as you could hear, he didn't really answer my question. According to CNN, premiums for Affordable Care Act coverage will skyrocket about 26% on average next year. We do know 2 Republican senators have competing plans to create federally funded spending accounts that would help Obamacare enrollees directly rather than subsidize insurers to keep costs down. But there's been no timeline given, and we're again in the midst of open enrollment. Now, we were given limited time, and I wanted to ask him about Section 213 of the spending bill, which I told you about yesterday. It states any phone or other communication providers must tell a Senate office if prosecutors have asked for disclosure of Senate data, and senators can sue the United States for $500,000 for each instance of a violation. It's retroactive going back to 2022, and this comes as lawsuits have been filed by 8 Republican senators whose data was subpoenaed in 2023 as part of the probe into the 21 Capitol attack, which Tuberville is one of the senators named who could have monetary ramifications.
We have people both sides of the aisle in the House that were completely taken aback by this. They say it was a shady deal. What's your reaction to that?
Well, the reaction is it was put in there for future use, not past.
Well, it says retroactive, though.
Pardon?
It says retroactive back to 2021.
Well, yeah, it's retroactive, but it's not. That's not going to affect that. I'm telling you right now. Here's the deal. They're trying to keep the Department of Justice out of everybody's business, okay? And so my situation is, as I've been up there for 5 years, I've watched this. In the Biden administration, they weaponized the entire Justice Department. They went after President Trump. They went after conservatives. They went after people's bank accounts. They went after Christians. It's been amazing, the whole thing. But what we want to do is make sure that in the future, if people don't pay the price for what's happened, then it's going to continue to happen. So here's my deal. I don't care about whatever they put in this agenda. My deal is, if Jack Smith doesn't go to jail and Boasberg, the judge, is not impeached, I'm suing the heck out of somebody, because what they did is wrong.
Now, I did slightly misspeak in that question. That the section is retroactive back to 2022, not 21, like I said, and again in the future. I also asked him about House Speaker Johnson saying they were going to vote next week to overturn that section, but Tuberville's press secretary interrupted me, saying questioning was over. House members on both sides of the aisle have expressed severe concerns regarding that section. If you would like to hear the full interview, we have that under this web story on WVTM13.com. Carla?